Former President Donald Trump is under investigation by the ethics watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington for his blatant attempt to get big oil to give him money in return for favors. Now, the Washington Post reported that during a dinner with over 20 oil executives at Mar-a-Lago, Trump had said, yeah, you know what, give me $1 billion in campaign contributions, and I will undo President Joe Biden's restrictions on natural gas export permits, oil drilling, and car pollution. Now, Trump said of the natural gas exports and the ability to drill in the Alaskan Arctic, quote, you'll get it on the first day. You've been waiting on a permit for 5 years. You'll get it on day one. So, look, there it is. It's clear corruption. Pretty open, pretty blatant. Everybody can see it. Now, Virginia Carter, Crew's chief ethics counsel, said, quote, we're taking a very serious look at whether Trump's fundraising pitch to the oil executives for $1 billion would merit some further action. Now, of course, a lot of right-wingers are going to look at that and say, don't care, doing the right thing. I love oil and gas. You know what? I drink oil, libs. I love it. Yeah, I suck on tailpipes. You know, I love it. A clean coal, yummy.
Clean coal, meaning they're taking out coal, they're going to clean it.
I will shine that coal all day long, let me tell you what, libs. Are you triggered yet? No, not really. But look, what if Joe Biden went to a company that made solar panels and said, hey, give me $1 billion for my re-election campaign and I will end oil and gas day one? Your head would explode. Although, to be fair, conservatives, if you're watching, you probably already believe that. Okay? He's Joe Biden, Marxist radical Green New Deal, Al Gore. You're flipping out, right? But no, the reality is that under Joe Biden, the U.S. is actually drilling more oil than ever. Yes, I know. It's amazing, right? More oil and gas leases under the Biden administration than under Trump. And not only that, but like, you want to talk about oil and, specifically natural gas exports, right? You know what that means? It means we're selling it to other countries. We're not using it here. I thought that was the whole point of domestic energy, was to use it domestically, pump it domestically, use it domestically. American energy for Americans, right? Doing natural gas exports, selling it to other countries, doesn't exactly sound like America first, right? It sounds like corporations first. I thought you're supposed to hate that. Oh, I forget. It's only when they're woke. Okay. I know. Woke.
Woke.
Okay. Look, by the way, just one last point on that. Selling the natural gas to other countries does not benefit you and I at all. We're not getting paid for this. We're not going to benefit from that. It's going to be the corporations, the natural gas companies. They're going to get all the profits. What you're doing actually is promoting the privatization of the gains, but the socialization of the losses. Like, for example, in the oil or natural gas spills. Okay. Now, that said, Crew isn't the only ones that are looking into this. Turns out you got some Democrats that on the Oversight Committee that are launching their own inquiry into this meeting. Letters were sent from the House Oversight Committee on Monday to 9 oil executives asking for the details of their company's participation. And now Sheldon Whitehouse, the senator from Rhode Island, who chairs the Senate Budget Committee, which does have subpoena powers, is considering an investigation as well. But currently, again, that would be the Senate. The House does not have subpoena powers. So right now, they're just like, pretty please, oil companies, come help us out with our investigation. Now, getting back to Whitehouse, he told The Guardian that this offer was blatant quid pro quo and practically an invitation to ask questions about big oil's political corruption and manipulation. Yes, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the special interests that are lobbying and giving campaign contributions to candidates. Let's dive right into the scourge of money in politics. I have I have this feeling that it's not going to go anywhere, because this is exactly the kind of political corruption, the legalized bribery, that most politicians do not want to talk about, don't want to get into, even if it involves Donald Trump. I mean, you have, for example, AIPAC dropping $100 million on Democratic candidates. they're not going to talk about this. And not only that, but they also drop money on Republican candidates. And so, does anybody want to talk about that? No. If you talk about this, which again does appear to be clear quid pro quo corruption, money in politics, you're going to have to talk about the uncomfortable stuff, the stuff that goes to Democrats as well. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to. Now, here's the thing. For this to be illegal, and by the way, this is ridiculous, right? Trump would have to say something along the lines of, hey, I'm going to do this thing because you are giving me the money to do it. If he says, though, according to the law, I'm going to do it, so you should want to get me elected, then that, according to our system, is perfectly legal, even though it's pretty much the same thing, quite similar, right? At the end of the day, these companies and special interest groups, no matter how easy it is for them to get away with it, they are getting away with legalized corruption. It is so cheap and easy to buy off a political candidate these days. And that leads to a system where you and I are no longer represented. Okay. So now here's the thing. $1 billion is a bit more unusual, right? But Trump, understand, he got bills to pay. Okay. So that's why he's doing this. And the question is whether the oil companies are go along with it. I mean, look, they're already getting prepared for a Trump presidency by drafting executive orders for him to sign. All right. So this is the model legislation that's being written up by corporations to, who obviously stand to benefit quite a bit. Donald Trump gets in office, because I don't have really any doubt in my mind that even if Donald Trump does not get the $1 billion, that he's still, going to, I think he's still going to do massive deregulation, tax cuts of the oil industry, drill, baby, drill. He's already promised to do that. So there would be really no incentive for them to give him $1 billion for his campaign. I mean, other than the fact that they want him to win, obviously, but they're not going to give him $1 billion or everything he asked for. But they'll probably bankroll him enough anyway to, air all sorts of ads, do all this ad spending on behalf of Trump and his campaign. And so they've already given somewhere around $7 million to his political campaign so far. So that said, the thing that bothers me is that it's very unlikely that there will be a House investigation into this at all. Again, Republicans control the House, so this seems like an empty threat. And again, Democrats like Henry Cuellar that get lots of money from oil and gas companies. And funny enough, to get to the last point here, that oil companies actually have profited more under Democrats than Republicans. I know. During the first 3 years of the Biden administration, for example, ExxonMobil actually reported profits of $114.8 billion. Under Trump, ExxonMobil earned just $32.5 billion. That's in 4 years. Okay. Now, there are a lot of extraneous factors that have affected this. Pandemic, for example. And with Biden, you have the war in Ukraine that has driven up prices. You have increased global demand. You have OPEC cutting production, et cetera, et cetera. So you have these different factors that, of course, will have an impact on the price of oil. And when the price of oil is high, then these companies stand to benefit more. So it is kind of ironic here, right? That oil companies actually do really well during Democratic administrations because they, usually lead to higher oil prices. And so under Obama and Biden, the industry actually oversaw substantial profits. So having Biden stay in office actually would be better for these oil companies, and I'm sure they know this. I think regardless of who wins or who wins the election, you're going to have oil companies that will probably do pretty well at the expense of the planet. So maybe they won't take Donald Trump's offer. At the end of the day, I mean, what is he going to do? Donald Trump, do you see him going green energy? No, he hates green energy. He hates windmills. He hates solar panels. He hates all that stuff. So, yeah, he's going to keep filleting oil and gas companies, even if he doesn't get that $1 billion. So, nonetheless, yeah, this would be a good example of corruption. But unfortunately, our whole system is absolutely corrupted by money in politics. And so I really don't see anything coming from this investigation.